Well, good morning and welcome to the 18th Annual Maastricht Institute of Entrepreneurship. I'd like to thank all of you for being here today. I know over the years that I've been here, and some of you longer than I have, during this annual event, we have had some wonderful speakers as far as business, entrepreneurship, and I've looked at the list this year. I've already met some of our speakers, and this is going to be a very exciting 2 days. You're all going to learn a lot from these very successful people. And thank all of you for being here, and we'll talk about that as we go along. To put together an event like this takes a lot of work. If you look in your program, you'll see the staff, and we'll recognize them as we go along. But I do want right now is Milena Simic, where's Milena? Please stand. Where is she? She's the head of this program, and this takes all year for her to put this together, and I know she's running around like crazy, but thank you and the entire committee for everything you do here. We have some other introductions, but before we do anything else, I'd like to bring up our president, Missouri Valley College, Dr. Joe Parisi, for our official welcome. Dr. Parisi.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate the time this morning to be able to share just a little bit about the 18th Annual Maastricht Institute for Entrepreneurship. How about a round of applause for 18 years? I would echo the sentiments. Thank you, Dean Simic and the entire planning team. It takes a village to put this on. And I'll tell you, we had over 500 guests this past weekend, 163 students, 17 new commitments. The Valley Experience Day, so planning multiple events back to back and while everything's going on together is not an easy task for this campus. So thank you to the entire planning team for what you're doing there. Certainly is a big deal. Certainly as president, I'm proud of this event. I'm proud of the experiential learning. I'm always proud of our students, and to have an opportunity to learn and hear from some of the best, those that have been there and have done that. And students, I would recommend as you think through and as you take notes and as you ponder the theories and the practicality and the experiences that these folks have had, if you can just take away a couple of things from your experience at the Institute and implement into your day-to-day routines, into your day-to-day mindset, into your day-to-day business mantra, you're going to be such a better professional, and that's what the Viking Voyage is all about. I'd be remiss not to mention Wood & Houston Bank. Thank you to Wood & Houston Bank for supporting this event. 6 generations of banking family. 6 generations, right? And noted as being one of the best banks to work for in 2024 and 25. And they received this award due to exceptional results in having a top-performing workplace culture, something that all of us aspire to do and certainly to have. And if you don't also know, Wood & Houston Bank was named Extraordinary Banking Thought Leader right here in Marshall, Missouri. Healthiest banks in America and a 5-star rating from Bar Financial. And have now been in banking, Missouri banking, for over 152 years. Right here, Saline County, Marshall, Missouri. So thank you to Wood & Houston Bank for all you do and the work that's being conducted there. How about a round of applause for Wood & Houston? So my first year here, I had the privilege to meet Benoit Wesley and from Maastricht in the Netherlands, and we talked about a lot of different things. I did tell him that eventually I was going to come visit. I had a goal and a vision of creating a relationship and articulation with University of Maastricht in the Netherlands to say, well, how do we take the Institute to a new level? And so I'm going to challenge myself to think about that and think about what can be done to continue the legacy that's been created here. But certainly thank you to Benoit Wesley, Ed Elliott, Bruce Morgan, and some of the original founders that were here. The goal of Maastricht Institute is to foster an atmosphere of receptiveness and creativity, right? Something you don't hear much about in business, creative business models, right? Towards comparative entrepreneurial processes, right? So how is the entrepreneurial spirit alive and well? And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. In the future of entrepreneurship, students, as you think about graduating, or you think about this year or within the next 3 years, that really is a big deal. Adapting to rapid technological changes is on your horizon, right? AI is certainly going to be a crucial element to that, and certainly crucial for future entrepreneurs. Embracing innovation and continuously learning about emerging technologies that are essential for staying competitive. Students, you're going to be graduating, you're going to be working in the most competitive marketplace ever known in business and industry. And I love that about those opportunities. Entrepreneurial ambition is accelerating in all 4 countries, but nowhere more than the United States. Certainly, the U.S. tops that statistic, and certainly is a pretty neat deal to think about as it relates to our global economy. Canada represented 27%, UK 30%, Australia 25%, but 33% in terms of the U.S. and the entrepreneurial spirit and entrepreneurial growth. And what you don't know is we had an entrepreneur graduate from the School of Business and Technology that just articulated Dean Simich $180 million deal in Silicon Valley. Really not public knowledge, but it's a really big deal. Somebody that was sitting in your seat and in your shoes, and it was a student here. Really a big deal. And so what an amazing lineup of speakers and students. I challenge you to challenge our speakers, challenge your thought process, and challenge all of us to consider what it means to live and work in one of the greatest countries, right? And to have an opportunity to have a global perspective on business, what we do each and every day, and how you're going to impact not only the United States, but the world. I'm so excited about today's speakers, and I wouldn't be able to say enough about it. So thank you for being here. Go Vikings.
Thank you, Dr. Parisi. Will all the faculty members, especially those in the School of Business and Technology, but all faculty at Missouri Valley College, just stand for a moment. Thank all of you for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. They're a big part of this as well. By the way, we're also live streaming this event. And so if you want to follow that, or if you can't make all the sessions, or you have someone you would like to tell about this and they can also view all of this, it's pretty simple. You can go to the Academics on the Valley website, go to Beyond the Classroom and Learning, go to the 18th Annual Maastricht Institute, and there's a link right there, or on the Facebook page or Instagram. So please do that as well, as we let a lot of those who are not even in this classroom today join us as well. And also, after each speaker, we're going to have a question and answer session. Now, I know some of our speakers will take questions during their presentation. That's fine as well. But also afterwards, there will be a Q&A session. And when we have that, please wait for the microphone. Someone will come around with a microphone. 2 reasons. Number 1, so we can hear you in here. And number 2, for our live stream audience, they can't hear the question if they're not the microphone. So please wait for that. And that's always exciting a time as well. And after all 3 speakers today, you can enjoy lunch with us, and that's a chance for you to also to speak more one-on-one with our presenters. So with all that in mind, let's get started. A very exciting morning coming up, and I would ask Dr. Bev Katz, the Professor of Business. Bev, would you please come forward and get us started?
Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'd like to introduce our first speaker. You can follow along in our booklet here, just give you some summary of her great accomplishments. Vita Gina Tocco. Ms. Tocco is a senior partner of law firm Tocco, Connelly & Associates, PC, professional corporation. She's a native of St. Louis, and she attended, those of you who know Incarnate, Word Academy High School. She graduated from Southern University, Southern Illinois, with a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration, with a major in concentration in economics. She was also president of her fraternity sorority, Alpha Phi, and was a member of the debate team. Ms. Gina received her Juris Doctorate from St. Louis University, SLU, and she was the representative to the American Bar Association while she was a student in the debate team. She was admitted to the Missouri Bar in 1992, a little bit before some of the times of people here. Gina clerked for while she was in law school with a large litigation firms, which means she went to court often representing people, and she became a partner in a real estate firm in Clayton. She wanted to work more closely with her clients, and she then started her own firm, Tocco, CONNELLY Associates. So let's give her a warm Valley welcome.
Good morning. Happy Monday. I'm really glad you guys all came out to hear me speak this morning. I'm so excited to kick off the conference. As you know, my name is Gina Tocco, and I am the senior partner in my law firm, Tocco, CONNELLY Associates. I want to share my journey towards entrepreneurship. We have about 50 minutes together. I would like for you to get to know me. I would like to get to know you. So I'm going to be asking some questions throughout the presentation and then afford an opportunity for you guys to ask me questions at the end. Raise of hands, how many of you are Missouri Valley students currently? Okay, most of you. How many of you are Missouri Valley graduates? Okay, some of you. And how many of you are working full-time and already adulting? Some of us, right? I hope that I have something that I can share with each of you today. How many of you think that you've got this all figured out and things are going exactly according to your plan? Raise your hand, it's okay, some of you. Okay, how many of you have changed your major, changed your college, changed your path at least one time so far? Okay, a lot of us. For those of you that have things going according to plan, be prepared. Things will likely change for you. For those of you that have your plans changed at least once, it probably won't be the last time. And for those of you who've experienced a change of plans and were derailed and are now adulting, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In sharing my journey with you, I want you to understand that things are going to change, and that's okay. Let's talk about entrepreneurship, which is why we're here today. What does that mean to you? Anybody? Shout out. You don't need a microphone. Anybody? What is entrepreneurship?
Your own business.
Having your own business. What else? Building a legacy. What else? Taking risks. Great. Anybody else? Creating something new. Great. Anybody else? Don't be afraid. There's no test here. Well, in preparing my talk for today, one of the definitions of entrepreneurship is identifying a problem, designing, launching, and managing a new venture to solve that problem, and creating value, whether it's economic, social, or cultural. But starting your own business isn't the only way to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's a way of thinking that's characterized by curiosity, adaptability, and seeing problems as opportunities. Entrepreneurship involves leadership, experimenting, failing, adapting, and refining ideas. This morning when I was in Dr. Parisi's office, before I walked over here, he had a sign in the office that said, "The first responsibility of a leader is to define reality. The last is to say thank you, and in between, the leader is a servant." As you listen to all of the speakers over the next couple of days, please consider how their stories, how their experiences, how their skills can be applied to your life and help you solve your problems. Let your passion for desire, your passion for success, guide you as you problem solve through all aspects of your life. The tools that make a successful entrepreneur can be applied in anything that you do. I understand that not all of you, maybe some of you, but not all of you will start your own law practice. But whatever you do as you strive for success, as you take your own journey towards entrepreneurship, here is my message. Work hard and smart. Be prepared to adapt. build a life that works for you, and always find the silver lining. How many of you have had a part-time job in high school or over the summer or maybe even now? Okay, most of us. I could not wait to work. A strong work ethic was instilled in me from a very young age. I was raised in a very traditional Italian family. Most of my great-grandparents came from Italy to the US as adults to start their families and build the American dream. Both of my grandparents, my grandfathers, are respected World War II veterans. My maternal grandfather was one of 9 children, and he and his brothers and his father owned a company called Tocco Fish. They literally sold fresh fish in an ice cart to the neighbors. That fish cart grew into a legacy business that is now 2 multi-million-dollar food distribution companies in St. Louis. My maternal grandfather, my papa, worked in a manufacturing plant making air rifles. In addition to his full-time job, he sold clothing to the people in his neighborhood and had a fruit stand at the Soulard Market, which is an open-air market in St. Louis. My father worked in management and contract negotiations for almost 40 years with the same company, which allowed my mom to stay home and raise me and my brothers. I was surrounded by entrepreneurs and self-starters. I was eager to work, and I couldn't wait until I was 16. But I didn't wait. I babysat when I could. I worked at my family's concession stand at Larimore Swim Club, flipping burgers and selling fries, meeting people and enjoying the summer sun. I loved working. I enjoyed the responsibility and the paycheck. My first real job when I did turn 16 was working at Ross Pharmacy, which is a local pharmacy in my neighborhood. I walked to work, I stacked the shelves, I organized the candy and the cards. Sometimes I got to count out the medicine, which I thought was a really big deal. I loved working. I enjoyed the responsibility and the paycheck. My papa, that owned the Soulard Market, was looking for more help, and I could not wait to volunteer. While I was in high school, and almost every Saturday through college and through my first year of law school, I worked at the Soulard Market. How many of you have taken a business class? Marketing, accounting, finance, economics? Okay, most of us. Me too. As Beverly mentioned, I have a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with an emphasis in economics. So I was taking these business classes. I was learning these business theories, and every Friday, I saw my papa working at the Soulard Market, stacking the fruit so that it looked like it could be on the cover of a magazine, giving out samples because he knew that people bought what they tasted, making colorful handwritten signs, cutting prices on the fly, and promoting his business by serving and interacting with his customers. He would bark, "We got peaches here, we got watermelon, we got grapes cheap." He was applying these business theories that I was learning in school in the routine tasks that he was performing at the Soulard Market, teaching me these business theories. It was more than I could ever learn in the classroom. I was blown away that my papa, with a 6th grade education, was implementing these business theories. I watched and I imitated all of it. He worked hard and smart, and he adapted. When it was sunny, we would have great sales, we had a great day, and sometimes we even got to go home early. When it was rainy, we weren't busy, he had to slash the prices, and sometimes we would stay late, but he adapted. He treated his employees with kindness and respect, and he always found the silver lining. No matter what was happening, no matter what was going on, he loved that he was able to run his fruit stand, he loved his customers and his employees, and he was never afraid to ask for the sale. I thought to myself, if this is what my papa could do with a 6th grade education, what am I capable of doing with a college degree? The skills I learned learned at the Soulard Market the possibility of implementing my education as I became an entrepreneur serve as the basis for my business acumen and have guided me through my career. As you go through your life, be sure to observe who is around you. Who are the people that are successful, and not just successful, but successful and happy? What are they doing that makes them successful and happy? And don't be afraid to ask. You too can imitate those skills and adapt to make your own life successful and happy. As trivial as this may sound, and maybe some of you can relate, my first real disappointment in life was I did not get accepted into my first choice college when I was in high school. I worked really hard, I had good grades, I was involved in extracurricular activities. I did all the things that I was supposed to do, but it just didn't go according to plan. So what did I do? I adapted. I chose another college close to home but away from home, and I attended SIU Edwardsville. I was able to enroll in advanced classes, I was meeting new people, I joined a sorority. I was really enjoying the college experience. But the devastation of not being admitted to my first choice college continued to plague me, despite all of the good things that were going on in my life. And when plans don't go your way, it's sometimes easy to dwell in the disappointment. How many of you have experienced disappointment? And how tough sometimes is it to get over that disappointment? You can do everything right, but things just don't go according to your plans. But that doesn't mean that you're getting off track. It could mean that you are being redirected to something better. I'm sure you've all heard the comments, the comeback is greater than the setback. Life is 10% about what happens to you and 90% of how you handle it. Bad things happen, but how you respond defines your character and your quality of life. Although I was trying to embrace my second choice college, I didn't do a very good job of adapting or finding the silver lining. I remained angry, frustrated, and disappointed. And so I thought I knew better. I'll quit college. That's not my path. I'll just go to work full time. Against the advice of my parents and my teachers, I quit college to work full time. I chased success on my own terms. I thought that if I worked hard and I continued to work hard, I could fix this disappointment. What I didn't recognize, or maybe what I didn't really want to admit, is that SIUE was exactly where I was supposed to be. In this job, I ended up overworked, underpaid, and unfulfilled. And I realized that just because you can do something doesn't always mean that you should. I decided in that moment I did not want to work for my boss. I wanted to be my boss. I returned to SIU Edwardsville more motivated than ever. I was welcomed back with open arms by my sorority sisters. I graduated on time and with honors. What I learned as part of that experience is working hard isn't enough. You have to work smart. The job that I believed was worthy of me quitting school simply wasn't working. I was missing out on the college experience because of the long hours that I had worked. Little satisfaction, no appreciation. I learned that working hard doesn't work if you're miserable. After my return to SIUE, I continued to work hard at my studies and my job, but I also learned to work smart, prioritizing the things in my life, maximizing my skill set, and managing my time more efficiently. I began to understand my strengths and weaknesses and engage in classes and projects that matched my strengths. As a student, I wasn't able to delegate the things that came in my weakness category, but as an entrepreneur, you are the most successful when you are focusing your energies on the things at which you excel. and outsourcing the things that you do not. One of my mentors advised me that I had to work on my practice, not just in my practice. And I don't think I really understood what that meant, but I couldn't just be a lawyer. I had to develop my skills, yes, but I had to also engage with other professionals who complemented my skill set, market my abilities, and cultivate new clients. This new sense of working smart resulted in many leadership opportunities in college. I want you guys to think about what you are doing here at Missouri Valley College. Are you taking advantage of all of the opportunities? I've been on the website. I've seen the student life page. I know how many clubs and organizations and classes are available to you. Are you sharpening your skills? Are you focusing your energies and attentions on the things that you do well? Are you engaging in activities that help grow and develop those skills? Upon my return to college, I served as the president of my sorority, Alpha Phi. I was on the debate team, as Beverly mentioned, and I attended many leadership conferences. Serving as president of my sorority was so rewarding. I know you guys have a small Greek system here. Any of you involved in the Greek system? Not many of you? Okay, well for me, the community that my Alpha Phi sisterhood provided taught me how to excel as a leader. It taught me the importance of setting examples for others, guiding and listening to my peers, commanding respect, but understanding that that respect must be reciprocal. Activities like Rush, I don't think they call it Rush, I think it might be called recruitment now, helped me to develop my interpersonal skills. I worked hard to be honest and kind and positive. I enhanced my communication skills by resolving conflict with my sisterhood. You know how those girl groups can sometimes be. My sisters and I learned the importance of acting with kindness and manners and decorum. You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that is crucial in leadership. Our service projects taught me the importance of philanthropy and helping others, and some of my Alpha Phi sisters remain my very best friends. I was becoming a better person, a better woman, strategically communicating, problem solving, collaborating, and in times of challenge, I was persevering and I was learning to do so with poise and grace. Being on the debate team helped me hone in my critical thinking skills. You've always got to think on your feet, listen, and adapt based upon the counter argument. How many of you are part of a team? Sports team, debate team, any team? A lot of you. You know how important those relationships are, how important that collaboration is. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Make good choices now, personally and professionally. Act with self-respect and with dignity. Guys, with social media and court records now being public, the slightest indiscretion can affect your reputation and your future. Only now can I look back at my college experience, quitting college, knowing that I thought I knew better than my parents and teachers, and understanding that is what needed to happen. But when you get off track, sometimes it's hard to see that. How many of you have had a challenging experience, something that didn't go your way, and you didn't realize until weeks or months or maybe even years later, oh, wow, yeah, that's why that happened. How many of you can look back and have those experiences and say, wow, that's why that happened? As you embark upon your own journey, please be reminded you can be strong and driven, independent, motivated, and successful. But leadership and entrepreneurship are not about doing something on your own. It's about building relationships that teach you, encourage you, and sustain you. Don't discount the input from your teachers, your coaches, your parents, your friends, your family, people that you meet in line at the coffee shop. Take a minute and look at the people that are sitting in your row. Do you know these people? Should you know these people? Have your elevator speech ready. You might only have 90 seconds to talk to somebody and tell them about you. It could be a future employer or a potential for opportunity. You never know where that next nugget of wisdom is going to come from. I believe deeply in hard work, but it is relationships that help to keep you grounded. So again, I remind you, work hard and smart, be prepared to adapt, build a life that works for you, and always find the silver lining. After taking a year off school to work and then returning to college, I began to think, what's next for me? What's next in my journey? I was on the debate team in college, and if you ask my younger brothers or my parents, or really frankly anybody that knows me, I have a knack for arguing, and I'm quite persuasive. So after much deliberation, I decided that I would go to law school. I will never forget my first class, my first semester of law school. I knew it was exactly where I wanted to be. How many of you have seen Legally Blonde? Any of you? Okay, Elle Wood, she's in her first class. I'm that student. I'm excited. I've got my highlighters. I'm prepared. I'm raising my hand. I was Elle Wood's, only Italian and a little bit more aggressive. The leadership skills implanted in me as Alpha Phi president, my drive and determination to not work for my boss but be my boss, and my success after I returned to college catapulted me into opportunities in law school. As Beverly mentioned, I was the ABA representative for my first year law school class. I excelled in trial advocacy. I was on our National Moot Court Team. And as a result of my grades, I was able to interview after my first semester of law school. Once I got a job in the legal field, I couldn't work at the Soulard Market on Saturdays anymore, but I never forgot the skills that I learned there. I graduated from law school in May of 1992. I got a great job. I had a great apartment. Things were finally going according to plan. I thought I had the world on a string, but I wasn't making very good choices. You can become successful. You can be successful, but success is not sustainable if you are not grounded. After a little more than a year from graduating from law school, I got pregnant with my daughter, Maria. So now what? I realized that I had gotten off track, but I remembered I need to work hard, I need to work smart, and I need to adapt. And I reminded myself of the silver lining. I'm a lawyer. I have a great job. I have a great apartment, and I'm gonna have a baby. I don't know where you are in your faith journey, but my faith is an integral part of who I am. It is at my core. It is my guiding light. Even when I'm frustrated or confused or making bad decisions, and during my times of frustration and confusion and foolishness, I found that I wasn't grounded in my faith. I had to remind myself that God does not remove the struggles from our path. He walks that path with us. I want you to take a moment to think of a time that you were struggling, to think at a time when things were not going your way, and think of the people that were in your path. Think of the people who guided you through those struggles. There will be more struggles in the future. Be aware of the people that God puts in your life. So with my faith and my family and the tools that I had developed, I proudly welcomed my daughter, Maria. But I quickly learned that being a single mother and a new lawyer didn't give me much time for sleep or anything else really. And there's no such thing as a part-time lawyer when you're newly graduated from law school. I continued to work hard, but I wasn't working very smart. And the silver lining, well, that was easy. My daughter Maria is my motivation She is my reason to rise to the occasion, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. And so I adapted, and I decided to start my own law practice. In that moment, I realized that the hardest things that happen to you often carry the greatest opportunity. And folks, sometimes things that hold you back, especially when you are in college, is a lack of confidence. But I want you to understand that confidence sometimes comes after you've made the decision, not before. I was scared to death to quit college, to go back to college, to go to law school, to have a baby, to start my own practice. But as I made those decisions, the confidence came. My father told me that the worst decision is indecision. Take the action and don't be afraid. People thought I was crazy to start my own law practice 3 years out of law school, and on most days, I agreed with them. Entrepreneurship isn't glamorous, especially at the beginning. It's risky, it's uncertain, you put in long hours, but I knew that I had to work hard and smart, I had to adapt, and I had to build a life that worked for me. And starting my own practice enabled me to do that. I would tell my clients that I was a self-employed lawyer so that I could do my real job, which was being a single mom. What did being a single mother with a law practice look like for me? I built my practice one day at a time, one client at a time, one step at a time, one experience at a time. Initially, I was able to stay home with my daughter and work part-time until I got too busy. My first step was to hire a high school student to come in and provide secretarial services in my home. Then I was too busy that I couldn't work out of my house anymore. I had needed a place to meet clients that wasn't a Starbucks or a Bread Co. And as a lawyer, I shouldn't be making house calls. So I opened my own office, and 1 year after Maria was born, the Law Offices of TOCCO and Associates was formed. My first office I shared with a real estate agent. It was really a place just for me to meet clients. Now I have a multi-office, conference room, supply room, secretary, receptionist, associate attorneys. I took every client that would pay me to do something. Having two brothers in college and a big family in St. Louis enabled me to build my initial clientele. I connected with every potential client. You never know, who they are, who they're going to refer to you. I had one man that walked into my office without an appointment. I could have very easily had my secretary schedule an appointment for him, but I took the initiative. I came out, I greeted him, I introduced myself, I scheduled the appointment myself, and this man became one of my biggest clients. You never know how your actions are going to affect things. I had another woman who called me about a problem that she was having. I spoke with her on the phone. I gave her some guidance, things that she could do. She didn't even need to hire me. And to this day, she still refers clients to my office. And I had another client who had a young daughter when I represented her. And that little girl became a lawyer. And her mother called and said, "My daughter said that I was so sad when you were representing me, but you made me feel better every time I called." And she wanted to give that to someone else. I was friendly with the court staff, which is so important. When I needed something, they were available. They knew who I was. I was kind to my colleagues and other professionals. But when the circumstances dictate, I'm that bulldog my clients hire me to be. But I always act with professionalism. When I work with others, real estate agents, accountants, appraisers, I develop those relationships, follow-up calls or emails or lunches. I want to know that I have those colleagues at the ready when they can help to service my clientele. Often these colleagues are also other entrepreneurs with whom I can share best practices. And when I refer other professionals to my clients, that makes me look good, gives me that additional credibility. Forging these relationships from the inception of my practice was integral to my success. How many of you have friends that have different hobbies, different majors? All of us, right? Forge those relationships. They will help to challenge you. They will help to expose you to things that you may not know about. My areas of concentration include real estate transactions, corporate formation and transfers, family law, and estate planning. Those practice areas weren't chosen just by design. They were chosen because that's what meets the needs of my clientele. Clients come to me during the hardest times in their life. They're being sued, or they've been damaged and they need to sue someone, or there's a family crisis, or somebody died and left them with a financial mess. They look to me not only for legal representation, but for leadership, guidance, and support. Leadership and being an entrepreneur is not about control. It's about responsibility. A responsibility that necessitates that you are grounded in something bigger than yourself. I am grounded in my faith and in my relationships. That lets me provide my clients with the level of excellence that they deserve. I help them, provide them calm during the storm. They trust me and my firm in representing them during major life decisions. But to be efficient, we must work smart. I wear many hats being a lawyer, especially in the early parts of my practice. I was the CEO and the CFO and the marketing director and HR and accounting. But I realized that my strongest attribute is being a lawyer and serving my client. I've invested in technology that allows me to be more efficient in my practice, and I have outsourced and delegated things that enable me to do the things I am best at. And in delegating some of that work, it's freed up time for me to engage in philanthropy and serve on boards for causes that I'm passionate about. How many of you are multitasking? In order to be successful in college, you have to multitask. As you grow and develop in your leadership, you will find the things that work best for you. And for those of us that have a strong work ethic and are highly motivated, you must discern the opportunities that will help us build the life for us. Being an entrepreneur and being a good leader is also knowing when to say no, to protect your energy and your peace. How many of us have trouble saying no? It's hard. And sometimes you don't have the opportunity. If a boss or a teacher gives you something to do, you don't get the opportunity to say no. But in those circumstances, ask the questions. I tell my staff all the time, please, if I give you something to do and you don't understand it, ask me the questions. I would rather have you ask me the questions than make a mistake or duplicate your efforts and be inefficient. Another way to work smart is cut your losses. I do the very best that I can in making sure that my values and my clients' values align. But sometimes on a long-term basis, that doesn't work. And I have to find a way to professionally let that client go. Working smart also requires that you maximize the efficiencies. I'm not talking about taking shortcuts. I'm talking about using best practices that allow you to accomplish those goals. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time you do something. Work hard at working smart. This month, it will be 31 years that I have been in private practice. I have an associate attorney, Sarah Connelly, who's been with my office since 2001 when the firm became Tocco, Connelly & Associates. I am so blessed to have a job that I love and people that I love to work with. It's clear to me that the path that I have traveled was the path that I was destined to travel. When my daughter Maria was in elementary school, she had a friend. And this friend had a dad who needed legal services. Following my representation of him, and since our kids were friends, we became lifelong friends as well. After being single my entire life, this man with whom I had been friends for 20 years wanted to start dating. I told him he was crazy. My husband Steve is here to support me today. We've been married for 7 years. We have 7 grandchildren and 4 children that we adore. But had my Maria not been born, her and Steve's son would have never been friends, and we never may have met. Had I not gone to law school to provide him with the legal services that he needed, we may have had no connection at all. Attending law school and having Maria were detours in my life. They were times when I thought that I had gotten off track. But I realized that those detours were guiding me to my husband. Let me leave you with this. Your life will not always go according to plan. Mine certainly didn't. But I am so grateful for the journey. Every setback, every wrong turn, every unexpected moment had something that produced strength and resilience, something that created bigger, better opportunities on the other side that enabled me to be a student, a lawyer, a mother, a wife, and an entrepreneur. That something was the silver lining. Wherever you are right now, whether you're confident, uncertain, confused, excited, overwhelmed, just remember, work hard and smart. Effort without direction is wasted energy. Abraham Lincoln said, if I had 8 hours to cut down a tree, I would use 6 of them sharpening my axe. Be prepared to adapt. Adjusting to change allows you to thrive, not just survive. Stay grounded in something bigger than yourself. For me, that's my faith and my relationships. Build relationships, not just resumes. They are the cornerstone of success in business and in life. And it is in those relationships that opportunity often lies. And find the silver lining. It's always there. You just have to look for it. Adversity is inevitable, but perspective is your choice. So I want to thank you so much for hearing my journey today. I would love to answer any questions that you guys may have about anything, careers, law school, college.
So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and she'll come around with the mic. Certainly there's some questions. Yes. Go ahead, Beth.
Starting your own firm. How about being an entrepreneur with somebody who has started? You mentioned CONNELLY. Being an entrepreneur doesn't necessarily, or does it that you are started something, or you're joining someone or something?
So again, I mentioned in my talk that I think that the skills that you need to be an entrepreneur, that hard work, that work ethic, that adaptability, that drive, that determination, you don't have to start your own business. You can work for or with someone and still have those skills that enable you to succeed and to be successful. Anybody else?
All right, Mel has a question back there.
Yes. I think that you have to do both. I think that you have to focus on the things that you excel at, the things that you are good at, and I think that you have to have a passion for those things. I think one without the other doesn't work. I know when I quit school and I worked for the accounting firm that I worked for, I was really driven but I wasn't excited about what I was doing. I wasn't passionate about it. When I started my own law practice and I was really helping people, I was passionate about it. I was good at it and I was passionate about it. I think in order to truly be successful, you have to have job satisfaction in what it is that you're doing.
Other questions?
Yes.
Israel has a question here.
Oh, well, maybe you can hear me. When you go through difficult times, what's your motto to pick yourself up?
It's hard and it depends on the times. Again, I think for me, my village, I know that Dr. Parisi talked about it takes a village. You know, my parents were always so supportive. My friends were very supportive. And I think that my faith was really my guiding light and my guiding factor. You got to dust yourself off and pick yourself up, guys. That the comeback is better than the setback. That is all so true. We are going to have adversity, all of us. I still have it. There's still challenges and things that I have. But if you are working hard and smart, if you are developing those relationships, you're going to have the resilience that you need to dust yourself off and pick yourself up and start again.
Anybody else?
In your work with other, say, entrepreneurs in the Philippines, what do you like to advise them, or what are some of the common mistakes that you see that they're trying to rectify? Is it the beginning of the career, midway, season?
I think that there are ways to adapt throughout the whole process. I know that at the beginning of my practice, it was really challenging. I had never owned a law practice before. You know, being a lawyer doesn't necessarily equate to being a business owner. So I think at the beginning, I had to learn. I certainly took the things that I learned all the way back from my papa at the Soulard Market, looked at the things that I believe were working in the firms that I worked for, and I tried to adapt those things to make my practice work for me. In working with other colleagues and other business owners, it's so great to share best practices with them. You know, even though my colleagues, I have a business valuation expert, for example, that I work with, we do different things, but the manner in which we service our clients is very similar. Listen to what it is that their needs are and use your skill set to adapt and address those needs. Yes?
My question is, you spoke a lot about faith. How does your faith interact within your actual law practices in the way in which it governs law?
That's a great question. When I first started practicing law, it was sort of taboo to really talk about faith in the context of really any business, not just my law practice. But it is such a big part of who I am, and going back to what picks you up when you're down, it helps me recognize and realize that there is bigger, better, other, and that God has a plan for me. And I have found that in situations with my clients where they are in crisis, and I will say to them, I just want you to know that I am praying for you, or I just want you to know that I pray that this outcome is going to be beneficial for you, they're incredibly receptive. So I think it's really a case-by-case basis. I think that I live my faith. I think I lead with my faith. And how much I can share that with my clients or my colleagues, I think is something that you have to kind of learn and adapt on the fly. But thank you for asking that. That's a great question.
Have time for a couple more.
Yes?
What do you think someone has to have, like the main quality someone has to have in order to be successful as his field, for example, you or the people that you work with?
I think that the main thing is that you have to be willing to do the work. It's not easy to be an entrepreneur. If it was, we'd have way more of them than we do in this world. So you have to have the drive and the determination and the commitment that I want to be successful. I want to do more. And it doesn't matter what that area is. It doesn't matter if it's law or accounting or you want to start your own lawn mowing business. It doesn't matter, but you have to have that drive and that determination and that desire to be successful. And if you have that drive and if you have that determination, you can make anything happen. Anything is possible. Yes?
So you talked about networking and like growing your community. What are the steps that you took to creating a community that benefited you?
You cannot miss out on any opportunity. Like I said, I might have a real estate transaction that involves a title company that I've never worked with before. When that deal is over, I reach out to that title company and I say, hey, I really enjoyed working with you. You guys did a great job. Keep me in mind if your clients have anything going on. Those relationships are the lifeblood of my practice. I have done 0 advertising. All of my leads come from that network, come from referral from my other clients. Don't be afraid to go up and talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to have a conversation with that person in the coffee shop. You guys, put your phones down. Interact with people. Build those relationships. It's so important. And the opportunities are everywhere to do that. Yes? I'm sorry, can you speak up? I can't hear you. Yes. Yes. Invaluable. My debate team experience really was the reason I decided to go to college. When I returned, or to go to law school, when I returned to college, I thought about getting my MBA and again, talking about what Melina asked me about, your skill set. It's so important to look at what you're good at. I was able to think on my feet, which I learned on the debate team. You go in and you prepare an argument and a counter argument, but you don't know what the other side's gonna say. And so being able to engage in that process and think on my feet helped me incredibly to decide to go to law school. And then once I got to law school, the Moot Court Team is more of an appellate advocacy where you're going up to the Court of Appeals and you're arguing why they should uphold the decision that you were given by the court. I think those critical thinking skills, those thinking on your feet skills, for me were crucial in my practice. And I think that are good in any business setting. Yes?
What is one piece of advice that you give to graduating students, especially ones that are wanting to go for their master's?
When I was talking with my dad about deciding to get my MBA or to go to law school, the concern was, do you have any real world experience when you graduate? If you go to college and then you get your MBA, how do those skills translate in the workplace? So my advice to you is take as many opportunities as you can to build those skills, whether it's a part-time job, whether it's an internship, whether it's coming to these places and building relationships with people that you can go to that can help mentor you. I think that that's the most important thing as you're making decisions about what your career is going to be. Build those relationships and get that experience so that you can move forward.
Time for one more question, if anyone has one more for Gina.
Anybody else?
All right. Gina,
Guys, thank you so much.
thank you very much. If you have more questions for her, of course, come to lunch and we'll have our networking sessions then, and you can ask Gina a lot more questions there. So we're going to take a break, just a few minutes. Our next presentation begins right at 10 o'clock.